This is one of those games where I could sit here and read you the box score, and that's just not going to tell you the story. I could sit here and read you the highlights and significant runs, and that's just not going to tell you the whole story. It is so crucial and so imperative that you use the eye test for a lot of this stuff. Now, I know some people, watch post-game videos like this because you didn't get a chance to watch, and I understand that. But if you are making a conscious choice of are you going to watch it or are you just going to peep the highlights, when I tell you in the playoffs you got to watch the games, you got to find a way to watch these games because this was such an interesting tale. The Liberty fought back. The Liberty got up, dusted themselves off, said, oh yeah, we're a championship organization, and fought back as they should. As they should. They're clearly the favorites. We all know what things are being positioned for. They need to go out there and execute. And they did. They responded to that punch in the mouth beautifully. A couple nights ago, the Liberty went out there, Tuesday, I believe, went out there and handled their business on their home court against the Sun in what was a extremely physical game. But I can sum it down to two specific things. I mean, obviously, anyone with a pulse was able to look at the fact that in game one, there was a lot of ISO and hero ball, right? So just get back to what y'all do best and the situation will handle itself. Don't be worried and concerned if you're down in the first half or something like that, or if going into the, fourth quarter, it's a little shaky or something like that. Just stick with the game plan. Coach Sandy is about that. You know what I mean? Like she's got the experience. Just trust and believe in the system. But I can narrow it down to one specific thing for me personally. Game one, Rebecca Allen. She was a problem. There was no stopping her. You had to figure out what you're going to do. You go into game two, star of the game, local W player of the game, if you will. It's got to be Betnijah Laney. And I apologize if I'm saying her name wrong. I'll just say Laney. Why is my hair in my eye today? That's not a here or there. I'm going to just keep it pushing with hair in my face. Laney, after being a complete afterthought in game one, comes through and erupts in game two. There was clearly a plan to be physical with Sabrina Ionescu, get her off balance. There was clearly a plan in place. Chase around Vandersloot. Chase around Vandersloot. Make sure every shot, unless you get caught on a screen where you go under or you just get caught on a moving screen or something like that, you got to chase her to make sure she don't get no open threes. There was a clear, distinct effort and game plan to be as physical as possible with the newly crowned MVP Breanna Stewart. Be as physical as possible. You're going to get away with it. It's playoff basketball. Get it off. But the complete afterthought and forgetting of Laney was insane because the second she saw the ball go through the net a couple times, it was wraps. Now, again, you can look at the box score and you might lean to someone else, or you might say, Jonquel Jones was super dominant in the first half and that, blah, 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 blah. It was Laney. It was the Laney show, in my opinion. I ain't never seen that type of just unconscious takeover before. That's literally like when you're playing 2K and you hit takeover. She was in a different type of zone. And I thought that the game plan and strategy of go at Rebecca Allen as much as possible to get her in foul trouble, like how they did Tiffany Hayes, was beautifully constructed. Now, it almost backfired because Tip still came back and gave you 30. She still came back and riddled off 30 and was mocking the 2K cover athlete the entire game with a interesting theory that Sabrina can't guard her. So it almost backfired. But I believe that the impact of the impact of a Rebecca Allen, both defensively and offensively, just because of sheer size. Not that Tip wasn't out there hustling, because Jesus Christ on ice was she out there showing out. I ain't seen that Tip in at least a year and a half. She was playing out of her mind. But you will take that from Tiffany Hayes, whereas if you got Rebecca Allen riddling that off, it's a problem. It's a problem. Sabrina getting abused on defense because Tip is going crazy is one thing. But to have on the other end Rebecca putting the clan, you know what I mean? You don't want that. So I thought that was genius, especially when you're getting that hometown cooking, especially when some of the calls were not as balanced as last game. I would say game 1, it was pretty down the middle of terrible officiating on both sides. Game 2, there was some superstar calls out there. I ain't gonna say nothing against the Liberty. Shout out to y'all, shout out to us. But there was some superstar calls. And I believe taking advantage of that and understanding the assignment and just exploiting every possible thing you can to make sure we get the dub is what you gotta do. If Connecticut is a victim of circumstance, then so be it. Because we're here to get this ring. We're here to get this ring. And as you should, take advantage of the superstar. It's a super team. Take advantage of it. Be physical back. Knock them to the floor. You know, like I'm not encouraging violence, but it's just like, if Connecticut's going to be physical with you and literally beat you up in game 1, you got to literally fight back. And with the team that is constructed, with the necessary pieces that we have, you can absolutely fight back. Don't let them bully you. Fight back. That's what you got to do. And especially with as physical as the WNBA playoffs seem to be and the stuff you're able to get away with, hit them back. You got a couple blocks where it might be all ball up top, but then you kind of like sumo wrestle someone to the ground. You hit a little F5 on someone, a little 5-knuckle shuffle. It is what it is. Get the job done. Get this dub. We're going to Vegas. And I think this is great practice for Vegas in the finals as well, because the Aces are super physical as well. So this is great practice. This is absolutely great practice. Now, the superstar calls are going to be a little bit more balanced when we get to the finals, but this is great practice. And the way the Liberty was getting smacked around in the first half, I'm sitting here on my couch, just mouth ajar, like, how do we come back from this? Because I literally just watched the game. Like, I've been watching bits and pieces of the game over the last 48 hours. I finally just watched the fourth quarter just now. And I'm sitting here, like, especially at halftime, I'm sitting here like, how do we win this game? Because all they was putting the beats on us. But let's take a moment and look at some individual performances if we can. Sabrina is being targeted and hunted on both sides of the ball. And the way she keeps her composure and is able to just play her game, play with control, and get to her spots, hit a 3 when necessary, but understanding if the 3 is heavily contested, go in the paint and get fouled. Or have a crazy and one, or just finish. Who cares if you're getting the call or not? That is superstar stuff. Worthy of the cover of 2K? I don't think so. But that is superstar stuff. And you got to step up. You got to step up in moments like this. That's what makes a superstar. So shout out to Sabrina for playing incredible. I thought she played great. Maybe it's not the most efficient, but this is the playoffs. We're not talking about efficiency in the play. We're talking about who won the game. Remember when Kobe said job's not done? That's what, it's about the dub. So I'm looking at the performance as a whole. I thought Sabrina played amazing. And especially the fact that she has a literal target on her back and every other guard is going at her neck every game, especially in the playoffs. You know what I mean? One series, it's Cloud coming at you. Now it's Tip. I mean, that's some pretty serious hounds being sicked on you. And you're still coming out smelling like roses. Hey, shout out to Sabrina. And I can say that, you know, I might not be the biggest Sabrina Husky fan, but you know, shout out to her. Greatness is greatness. Now keep that rolling. Keep that rolling. I mean, you ate a 30-piece from Tip and still won. Great job. Let's look at Jonquel Jones. Not only being physical against her former team, but the way she, like, it's almost like it reminds me of, like, old school Lakers type stuff, like early 2000s, like the idea of like you got a Shaq and a Kobe type stuff, right? She just goes off in the beginning of the game, sets the tone, sets the pace, and then immediately says, okay, now y'all take over. I'm going to go hustle on defense, the dirty work. And again, we say things like physicality because it's such a catch-all term, but I really, really mean that when I say it. The aggressive blocks, the crazy screens, making sure they ain't getting nothing easy in the paint, swinging the ball, like she'll be up top along the arc, little pump fake to get the defender to draw near, kick that to Vandersloot. I mean, chef's kiss. She's playing wonderfully. And for someone who, to my understanding, is a former MVP, to be able to kind of like fall back and give what is needed for the success of the team and swallow the fact that, yeah, at a moment's notice, I can just take over at any moment. But understanding that it's about the team, that is what is needed. Not what was going on in game one. This is what is needed. Breanna Stewart, the MVP. Played like trash offensively in the beginning of the game, but does all the little things and intangibles that make someone an MVP. The stuff that we be like having a Waka Flocka Flame round of applause for AT, for Thomas, if you will, is the same stuff that Breanna Stewart was doing. It's Stu York for a reason. Those intangibles. The ball movement, attracting the double team, letting the defense collapse on you in the post and just swing it out to shooters galore. The defense, bringing the ball up the court, being a little point forward type beat, almost getting a triple. Again, maybe not like statistically looking at the numbers, but just that type of triple double impact from a point forward is so clutch, is so important. Not really getting into your offensive bag. Like you didn't hit a field goal until halfway through the third quarter, but still impacting the game and still scoring. Might not have had a field goal, but was still scoring, having an impact on every aspect of the game. That's so important. That is true leadership. And even in a situation where we don't even hear rumblings of, oh, who's the best player on the team? It's not about that. It's about the team. Excellent effort from the Liberty. That is exactly what you do. You fight back. In my opinion, this is, without a doubt, the best series. I thought the last one was pretty good, but this so far is the best series of basketball I have ever watched in my life. The back and forth nature of it. And even when, you look at the final scores and you say, well, that wasn't particularly like competitive. It's the seesaw. That's what I'm saying. If you get a chance to watch the games, watch the games. Don't just rely on like what a graphics department says or something like that. You gotta do the eye test because you're missing one heck of a series. Game 3 is going to be Friday. The Mohegan Sun Arena, I think that's what it's called, up in Connecticut. Well, down in Connecticut for y'all, because y'all are in New York. So down in Connecticut, in a casino at that. Isn't it like Park Casino? I don't know. Anyway, it's going to be a physical game. A very, very physical game. It might even be a cage match. Like at this point, like where's Vince McMahon when you need him? Also, does the coach, it might get canceled, I don't know, but does the coach of Connecticut look like Stephanie McMahon to y'all at all? Because I can't unsee it, but that's not here nor there. Let me know your thoughts on the game down below. I know it's been a couple days afterwards, my fault, had some stuff to do, my bad, but I'm here. We done talked about the game. Leave your thoughts down below. And what are y'all expecting for game 3? Who do you think is going to be the impact player? Because so far, it's been Rebecca Allen, then Laney. Who's going to be the star of game 3? I think we're due for a Sabrina Ionescu masterclass. For me personally, I think that's where we're going. We are in store for a Sabrina masterclass, and she's going to shush a casino, and there's going to be rage, and I might be here for it. I think we're due for the Sabrina game. I think it's on its way, and it'll be a great prelude for the finals. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm Sever the Bond. You're on the local W. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Share it if you want. And we will be back for an insane Game 3, I'm sure. See y'all later.